Welcome to Shea Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois, where it's the return of the Peoria City soccer season here in 2025. After opening up the 2025 campaign on the road against FC Ambush, our Carp return home to host said FC Ambush. I'm Cody Roskins. Alongside me, my color commentator tonight, Coach Mike Bear of Peoria Notre Dame. Coach, thanks for joining me tonight.
Oh, I'm so excited to be back here with you, Cody. It's going to be a great matchup. I mean, Peoria City coming into this season, last year they're kind of the underdog, finished as a national runner-up, and this year the expectations are really high.
Excellent point, Coach. Number 2 currently in the power rankings by the USL 2. Peoria City coming off a national runner-up campaign a season ago despite not winning the division. Got hot in the playoffs, had some miraculous results along the way. But Peoria City back on their home grass here for 2025 for the first time. A new-look team, but many of the same staples from last year's squad are still here.
Yeah, a lot of familiar faces, but some new big pieces from some big programs added to the mix. We talked about that before the match, Cody, about how last year was a lot of the NAI-type Clark players coming over with Coach Pay, some lower-level D1s, but now we're starting to add some players from bigger schools, bigger conferences, and we'll see how they mix together to form a great team as we run through this season.
Opposite of them will be FC Ambush, a first-year expansion team to the USL 2 in the new and reorganized Great Plains division, taking a mix of probably 3 or 4 expansion teams along with Peoria City and the Des Moines Menace. They create the new Great Plains division, so this is the second time already that these two teams will have collided. Peoria City won the initial meeting 2-1 down in St. Louis, and FC Ambush has some unique ties. Originally more of an indoor arena soccer style team, now expanding into the USL 2, and after about a week and 14 days more or less of trying to get it figured out, their head coach Jeff Locker said they're having a ton of fun with it and they're very excited where they can go from here.
Yeah, and Coach Locker, he's not only the head coach of this team, he's the owner of the franchise. That's a unique situation.
We're just about ready to meet the starters for both sides, so we'll step aside for a quick break while our in-arena PA gets us underway.
Fans, on behalf of Peoria City and USL, welcome to Shea Stadium for tonight's USL League 2 Great Plains Division matchup between the visiting FC Ambush and your hometown, Peoria City. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise if you're able. Gentlemen, kindly remove your caps and face the colors atop the grandstand with your hand over your heart for the playing of our national anthem. Tonight's USL League 2 game officials are Braden Fry, Chad Hohenberry, Joe Gross, and Marty Dahlquist. Now let's meet tonight's starting 11s, beginning with our visitors, the FC Ambush. In goal, number 14, Alex Drexler. Number 6, Kala Nascimento. Number 7, Grant Locker. Number 8, Owen Guffey. Number 9, Brendan Cunningham. Number 12, Michael Holliday. Number 15, Ben Perkins. Number 16, John Gates. Number 21, Bobby Pauley. Number 22, Clayton Hamler. And number 33, Andres Chalbad. Head coach for SC Ambush is Jeffrey Locker. Now let's meet the starting 11 for your hometown, Peoria City. Man in goal is from Paris, France. Number 1, Sammy Slimmy. From Madrid, Spain, 2, Alejandro Valverde. From Durban, South Africa, 3, Josh Reddy. From Norwich, England, 4, Charlie Dickerson. From Monrovia, Liberia, 5, Jeremy Saibi. From Crystal Lake, Illinois, 6, Tommy Coughlin. From Oakville, Ontario, 7, Keegan Walker. From Fermo, Italy, 8, Kevin Macias. From Roatan, Honduras, 10, Jose Gomez. From St. Charles, Illinois, 11, Luke Persenico. And from Louisville, Texas, 14, DJ Kulai. Peoria City's head coach is Mike Pay.
Starters for tonight's matchup. Coach, as we were touching on right before they went out there, a lot of mainstays from last year's squad have returned, but there's a few new faces sprinkled in there. 7 of the 11 from last year's squad return, 8 of last year's starting 11 return for Peoria City. 3 new additions to mark out the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know one face missing from the lineup tonight that played in last week's match is Wes Gibson, a local product out of Morton, Illinois. And he actually took a red card in last week's match, and he's got to serve a 1-game suspension. But, I mean, one of the big names, highlight name across the entire USL is Luke Persenico, and he's back, and he's ready to score some more goals for Peoria City this season.
The man from Clark hasn't gotten in the scoring column yet early going in this season. Does have an assist to his name on Peoria City's first goal of the year. But so far, a 0 in that column for him. That's likely to change, perhaps tonight. But there's a number of other new faces. Jeremy Segby also joining Peoria City along that back line. As we were kind of talking off the air, replaces the Abasa Aramiao factor on that back line.
Yeah, very much a similar player in terms of athleticism along the back line at the center back position. Actually, Jeremy came in his first match with Peoria City was earlier this spring against Chivas U23s that was played at Peoria Stadium, and he showed really well in that match, and obviously showed well enough that Coach Mike Pay wanted to roster him with the first team, and now he's a full-time member of Peoria City.
Opposite of them, FC Ambush, as we touched on briefly earlier, going to finally do them some more service here. John Gates, the man to really watch out for them. Did not play in the first meeting between these two just a few days ago, but that guy has had a heck of a time playing here at Shea Stadium, albeit in college or last year with St. Charles FC in the Heartland Division.
Yeah, that's a name. I've heard that name probably 10 different times since we've been here today. I heard it from head coach Jeff Locker when we were talking about their team. He said he's a standout player to watch out for tonight. Mike Pay, it was a point in the locker room before.
Of the Ambush lineup as we are underway in the Peoria City home opener. A big factor in the initial meeting between these two teams was the lack of forward momentum that they had going early. Offsides there, but that's an encouraging sign for the Ambush to get on the front foot.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we heard from Coach Locker. They just didn't start the game well. thing he brought up is this Peoria City team does bring back a lot of pieces from last season. They played together. He said his team very much feeling each other out and get to know each other. And he said their roster is continuing to change. He said they're probably at about 60% right now of the final roster that they'll have by the end of the season.
Just trying to navigate these first few weeks. He's was touching base, probably 5 real days of practice to kind of gel, and that's just in contrast to the now months that the Peoria City core has had over the last summer and a half. Josh Reddy was a midfielder a season ago, filled in a pinch in a couple very important matches in the playoffs for Peoria City in 2024, and has effectively made the full transition from a holding midfielder to almost a center back.
I think the nice thing about Josh is he can pretty much play anywhere. I think we've seen him play at center back, we've seen him play wide back, we've seen him play in the midfield. And every position he plays, he does a great job.
Trying to get forward once more. Sammy Slimmy will have to have his name called for the first time tonight. Ball falls into the midfield where Peoria City really likes their chances in this one and getting out wide, and they'll do just that. Here's Charlie Dickerson, the captain. He'll lay it off to Jose Gomez.
I love that pairing for Peoria City. We saw it all last season with Gomez and Coughlin in the midfield. They work so well off each other. They're both so technical. Gomez is an unbelievable distributor of the ball. You'll see him drop deep, pick up the ball, and he plays a great ball over distance.
Ready now with it along that far side. A little traditionally undersized for perhaps a man along the back line, but the reason Mike Pay put him in there in the playoffs is, as he said, had a little bit of pit bull in him and was able to fight off a lot of the bigger forwards Peoria City ran across in the USL 2 playoffs. Now trying to find an avenue out left. They're getting it out into space towards Dickerson. Chalbad will escort it out of play, and it will result in a Peoria City corner.
I watched a little bit of the match last week between these two teams, and that was one of the areas Peoria City had a lot of success was out on the wings. Both goals came from wide areas, and you can see early here with Charlie Dickerson getting forward from that left back position, creating some overloads, and we get our first corner.
It will be Gomez to take the corner kick for Peoria City. The set piece specialist from a season ago resumes his duties here. In-swinging ball, well outside towards Dickerson. And this one will be escorted out of play to the ambush. And it looks like it will be a change. They're going to far side linesman. Now gives it to Peoria City. Persenico with the throw-in.
Yeah, surprised they didn't bring Reddy up to test the ambush early with a long throw-in. It's another piece that he brings to the puzzle.
Heavy touches in the midfield cause a turnover for the Carp momentarily. And this will be against the ambush. Again, the big factor in that first meeting, although there has been quite a bit of roster turnovers, how fast Peoria City's midfield and forwards made life difficult as Drexler, the man in goal today for the ambush, will corral it.
It looks like both teams are playing matching systems to start the game. Both appear to be in a 4-2-3-1 system.
And kind of going off of that, as you were saying, as this ball gets lofted in towards Persenico, Mejias finds it at his feet. They run similar shapes, but they're different systems. Mejias different systems. Ambush coming into tonight, head coach Jeff Locker said they want to be much more possession-based, which is going to be hard with how much Peoria City will press tonight and repress. On the opposite end, the Carp want to get out and go as quick as possible.
They do, but the way the game started, it almost feels like the ambush have dropped a little bit deep, and it's Peoria City that seems to be having the majority of the possession. So it's a little bit different than what we expected coming into the match.
Drexler will have it for the ambush following the errant pass from the Carp.
Now, 5 minutes into the match, we haven't really mentioned John Gates' name yet, which is a very positive sign for the Carp.
Yeah, again, we touched on him in the open. Gates, speedster, credited with some of the best speed in the USL too. Anybody who's seen him play in college knows how lethal he can be on the breakout. And last year, he was the main reason St. Charles was able to upset Peoria City at home. Peoria City had not lost at all in their home venue to that point in the season, and he came out, had a few assists, nice passes, scored a goal or two, and really made life difficult. And so you have to imagine that those holdovers from last year's Peoria City team know that in the back of their mind. He's currently going to be lined up on the same side as Luke Persenico. So two of the better wingers in the Great Plains will be going at it once again tonight. And perhaps a tactical foul there, given up by Peoria City to halt the pressure forward. Rounding out the FC Ambush coaching staff, Christian Bigg, Santiago Castillo, James Swanner, and Kyle Rudy. Again, we mentioned earlier their ties to the indoor/arena leagues of soccer around the St. Louis area. Been a big staple there for many years, and one of the causes of that is how John Gates got onto this team. His father, we learned in talking with head coach Jeff Locker, played for the Ambush.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah, the Ambush has just been a staple in the St. Louis area. I mean, we've talked about it before on previous broadcasts. A lot of people consider St. Louis the soccer capital of the United States of America. It's just got a great, rich history, and the Ambush are part of that.
DJ Kulai gets his name called for the first time tonight as he tried to hunt down that free ball, and instead of going just out of play, he'll have to buy some time for Persenico and company to get forward.
Yeah, both teams have gotten very narrow. You're going to see Peoria City here try to expand and stretch and make the Ambush defend the full width of the field.
Well, that's kind of how you negate all the speed on both sides. This one's out into space now, taken away. Here is coming down the near side gate. So, excuse me, calling it back. That it would be Chalbad. And there is the handball call.
Yeah, we've seen Keegan Walker, one of the new faces to the Peoria City lineup, playing out on the left wing, number 7 for Peoria City. He's gotten on the ball a couple times in one-on-one situations, and here's a third opportunity for him.
Keegan Walker goes down, and that will set up a dangerous free kick. And you have to imagine that Jose Gomez will get the green light.
Yeah, the first 2 times the Ambush did a great job in 1v1 situations against Walker, and that time he was able just to put a ball past the defender and got clipped.
The Ontario, Canada native draws the infraction and will set up his teammate from Rotan, Honduras by way of Northern Illinois. He was previously a player under head coach Mike Payette Clark, played this last fall at Northern Illinois, played against quite a few of his teammates from Bradley who dot out this Peoria City roster. 3-man wall for the Ambush, Gomez and Persenico over the ball.
Tough angle to score from here. We'll see if they try to go at goal or to put something into the mix.
Gomez on the approach and had it on target, just a little too much muscle on it.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's a tough angle. Persenico, I know, is traditionally one that wants to take those, but I think with his left foot, it made more sense for a right footer to take that shot.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Coach. Against the grain, left foot, it's probably not the strongest spot there for Persenico, but he'll have more than enough chances throughout this year to find his way into that scoring column. And it's not an overly far goal kick, but it does the job and finds its way out into space. Nice flick on to Locker. Grant Locker trying to be the recipient once again. It's jarred free. Now into the danger area, nearly snuck through both Reddy and Dickerson. Gates and company were in the area.
We're making an assumption, but we believe Grant Locker might be the son of head coach Jeff Locker. He's also the captain for the Ambush tonight.
Reddy with a nice job of filling the open void. Has run off the ball, but buys himself enough time to let the midfield reset. Chalbad again. Originally from Venezuela. Finds his way here in the USL 2. Spent some time with Michigan Stars FC. Mejias trying to get in on the action. Now it's going to float out wide, and Grant Locker's got a lot of open space. Locker on the approach inside the penalty area, and it is going to be Slimmy making the diving reception.
Yeah, Locker just needed to pull that service out a little bit away from the 6-yard box. He did have a couple runners in the box, just wasn't able to connect with them there. You can see the difference between the two teams, though. Peoria City, when they have the ball, the ambush are very much content to drop off, let their backs knock it around. It's not really a high press. It's more of like a middle block. Whereas when the ambush pick up the ball and they do try to possess it, you can see Peoria City just applying a ton of pressure and just trying to force their defenders to kick longer balls that they can pick up and regain possession.
Kind of see the Peoria City midfield shuffling around, almost now pushing some of the members of the back line forward. And here's one of those members, Dickerson, up the line to his college teammate, DJ Kulai. Kulai on the front foot, on the approach, trying to find some help, cut back in, and Mejias just didn't have enough on it.
That's exactly where you want DJ is in one-on-one situations. He's so good, he's shifty, he's fast. Great job getting down the wing, picked out a great pass, and Mejias just didn't get quite enough on that shot.
Drexler with the heads-up save for the ambush. And that wind will be coming essentially across the field from your viewing angle to the bleachers all night. So a lot of those goal kicks and set-piece opportunities may get kind of held up a little bit. Shea Stadium does kind of form a natural wind tunnel with the trees on one side, the freeway and interstate over here to our right, down below.
Definitely a pleasant evening to come watch a soccer match. We were kind of talking about it earlier. We felt like coming into the match, the stands weren't super full, and then it looks like everybody has just been filtering in as the match has gone on, and we got a great crowd tonight.
Well, in Midwest fashion, if there's a worthwhile sporting event around, the tailgate scene is usually fairly good, and so some late arrivals after, I'm sure, enjoying themselves out in the parking lot, which appears to be just about packed to the brim now.
Yeah, a lot going on around Peoria. There's a big soccer tournament with hundreds of teams down in Mossville today at the Peoria FC United home tournament. We talked, it's a big graduation weekend. A lot of grade schools, high schools, even colleges having, I think you mentioned Bradley having their graduation this weekend. So a lot on the plate for people, but they've made an effort to show up here and support Peoria City tonight.
Trying to hunt it in behind to Walker. Gets held up. Header nearly won, but takes a unfruitful bounce for the ambush. Persenico drives in. Persenico couldn't quite get enough on it, but it had the right angle.
That's where he's really good. Coming in off that right wing to the inside off his left foot. That shot had a lot of dip on it.
It always just seems to carry away like a nice, I shouldn't say a nice golf shot, but kind of a golf shot that gets caught up a little bit off the edge of the 7, anything like that, and just continued to draw away. Again, much of Luke Persenico's fame during the regular season had his production, but a lot of it came in the postseason when Persenico was headlined in an article by the USL 2 that maybe perhaps that he alone wouldn't be enough to get them through the postseason, and by himself he wasn't, but he was not shy about saying in the postseason how motivating that was. Kulai inside from Dickerson! The Bradley connection gets the Carp on the board. It's 1-0 Peoria City.
Great run by Charlie Dickinson. He's, again, the left back. Walker drops deep. Dickerson from the back line gets down the wing, plays a perfect ball, and what a finish by DJ.
DJ Kulai from Charlie Dickerson. Much like the start last week, Peoria City out on the front foot.
And if we draw back to last week, this game is far from over. A lot of time left to be played, but a great start for Peoria City. I think the ambush are going to have to try to find a way to get a little bit more of the ball.
And they found a way to do that in the second half of their previous installment between these two. It wasn't very long ago, back in the fall of 2024, those two were sharing this same field, trying to hunt out goals for Bradley University, and DJ Kulai will be back here in 2025 for the Braves. Charlie Dickerson will be moving on to a bigger program in Providence this upcoming fall, and so I'm sure the Friars are more than happy to see the production coming from their new member of the back line.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for Charlie at Providence. I believe they were Big East champions last year and an NCAA tournament team.
So the first goal of DJ Kulai's USL 2 season in the books, a 15th minute goal by Kulai from Dickerson. And now the ambush in a dangerous spot. Peoria City has to be careful. That's how they surrendered their lone goal against last time out, was off of a penalty. And Sammy Slimmy, who's had a somewhat calm start to this contest, just over 16 minutes in, will set up the short approach.
You can see Gomez, we mentioned it early in the match, how he likes to drop to the wider areas when the fullbacks get forward, and he can distribute from those areas. It's tough to defend.
Got a triangle of Bradley Braves here. Mejias, Kulai, and Dickerson all in conjunction, and now they'll flare it out to the Clark products in Persenico and Reddy. Whipped into the penalty area. Kulai tried to give it a crack.
That might have been SportsCenter top 10.
He connected on one of those in a spring contest not too long ago for the Bradley Braves. Again, his upside, as touched on by many who have played against him and scouted him so far in his young career, know the prowess he could have. His ceiling's awfully high, and it's just a matter until he finally puts it all together.
Yeah, I think the big piece for him, and I actually talked with him about this earlier this spring, is just becoming a little bit more of a scorer. He's very much a creator. He draws a lot of fouls, but can he have the finished product, which he just did earlier in this match? And he's looking to shoot the ball more.
Wide open avenue, 2-on-1. Will they whip it to Mejias? Taken down. Probably the right call to let him play on. Looks like he lost his footing. There was Walker, but he had a streaking Mejias to put him up 2-0. Now on the opposite end, here's John Gates. Gates backside, and it was too wide. And that's the danger.
It really is. I mean, Walker probably wants that one back. He tried to pull the ball back, cut the defender. I think he was in position with his angle to go ahead and strike the ball a little bit earlier. Maybe one too many touches, created himself a bad angle, and ended up losing possession. But off of that loss of possession in one box, we're into the other box with Gates.
If there's one thing he doesn't lack, it's pace. He really knows how to time the runs well. Not that he really had to time that one up too closely. There was so much open space for him to operate. Chipped ahead. Valverde does a nice job of coming back in the run of play. Now here's Mejias.
Here you can see Gomez slide into the wide area again to pick up the ball and connect passes. Coughlin's one of my favorite players for Peoria City. His work rate is phenomenal. If you track the number of steps that he takes throughout a game, it's incredible.
Persenico with the fake and go, and will be off of the ambush. Reddy making his move forward now, able to hunt out Walker. Back outside to Dickerson. This is what Peoria City will do from time to time. They'll kind of lull you to sleep after pushing you so far forward. That's how you get a man free out the back like they do here to Kulai. Walker, backside, Persenico! Just off the wrong part of the head.
Great service. Persenico found himself wide open on the back post. The service just sailed a little bit too far. He still got his head on it, but just couldn't direct it on target. And one of the most promising things so far for Peoria City, they've had a lot of the ball, but it's the interchanging of positions. They're very dynamic in the attack today. You know, when you have a lot of the ball, if you're very stationary and you're not moving, it's easy to defend, but they're making it very, very difficult for the ambush today.
Battle for it in the midfield. Mejias is able to swing it out to Persenico. Here's Gomez. Being checked by Cunningham. Again ahead to Kulai. Chalbot is there, but Dickerson and Kulai again in tandem. Working well together, and there's the offside flag.
Right there's a great example of what Coach Mike Pay preaches to his team. He preaches front to back pressing and hard work. Right there, the fullback from the ambush, you know, just got pressed by Charlie and by DJ up top and just immediately got turned over and created an opportunity for Peoria City.
Drexler will swing his right foot into this one and get action once more underway. We'll give you a quick rundown of the stats here at the 21-minute mark. 5 shots, no saves, 1 corner kick for Peoria City. Opposite them for the ambush, no shots, 2 saves, and no corners for the ambush as Dickerson took the rougher end of that encounter. Ben Perkins and Brendan Cunningham, the 2 closest for the ambush. Haven't had a chance to call Perkins' name a ton so far, but he's been up and down this side with Dickerson in the early going. Those 2 are a good physical matchup for each other. Josh Reddy trying to find an opening. Tough touch for either side. It's still free and controlled by the ambush. Service inside, Reddy. Excuse me, that would be Segby with the clearance. And it will set up the ambush corner. So their first corner of the night will be taken by Grant Locker, the Marquette and St. Louis, Missouri product.
Showing a potential short corner situation here. They might just be trying to draw a second Peoria City defender outside the box. We'll see what happens.
They will swing it in, and I'm not sure that cleared Walker, who was, as you said, outside the penalty area. I think that might have gotten a clip of him. And that's where a guy like him who replaces a Joao Saraiva from last year can kind of give you a little bit more in that department. Much more air under this one. Back post, it's free. Still being headed around, and Slimmy all too cool to it.
They teased the front post on the first corner kick and then played a deep back post on the second one.
Yeah, just dialing in the parameters.
That's
there.
right.
I just wanted to know how wide the range was. And as we touched on earlier, there is some wind here today that's notable. It's more blowing from our direction towards the stands across from us, but there is a fair amount of wind traditionally here at Shea Stadium, just due to all the cars whizzing by on the interstate to our right and the shielded trees to the left.
Yeah, and the wind definitely blowing right across the field. May have carried that ball a little bit deep, and it could have been a design set piece where they targeted the back post and looked to head it back across.
Quick throw in for the ambush off the head of Locker. And Segby with the check out of play. Physical play. No call either way. Now Peoria City really pushing forward. Ambush doing well to match up, but there's a lot of forward momentum. Dickerson laid in behind. Kulai will run it down. Luke on the approach. Luke will let one rip, and it's over everything.
Very similar situation to his last shot, coming from the right wing, cutting into his left foot. Struck the ball with some natural dip on it, just couldn't quite get it down on target.
Are you, with a guy like Luke Prosenico, we know his goal-scoring prowess, are you okay with him kind of tuning up his shots from that far out and then maybe working his way in, or would you prefer a guy maybe look closer in and then kind of have the confidence to take one from further out?
No, I like exactly what you kind of take what the defense gives you. As he cut in there, no one really stepped to him. They allowed him to take that shot from distance, and I think that's a shot that on another occasion he can make and get on target. So I would encourage him to continue to look for those opportunities, and if you give him too many shots, you're going to be pulling the ball out of the back of your net.
He'll be on it here. Prosenico now along this left side. Couldn't quite thread the needle into Walker, or excuse me, to Coughlin.
There's a world-class player, many consider him maybe the best in the world right now, plays for Barcelona. Yamin Lamal, and he plays on the right wing, cuts in on his left foot, and exactly like you're seeing from Prosenico. So if he gets that dialed in a little bit.
And it's slightly unorthodox, especially at the USL 2 level. Typically, you know, positionally you can kind of know what to expect, like we were talking with Charlie. With Dickerson, you know, with kind of like a left center back or a left back, him being left-footed, it makes a little more sense. With Prosenico, he can go with either foot.
He can, absolutely.
Here he is, Prosenico, powering forward, looking for some help, and he is upended, and it will go. He can go with either foot.
He can, absolutely.
Here he is, Prosenico, powering forward, looking via Peoria City.
A very well-timed tackle from the ambush defender. Obviously, Prosenico's inside the 18. If you miss that tackle, it becomes a penalty situation. Very well-timed, but out for another Peoria City corner kick.
Jose Gomez will make the long trot over, and I kind of have to figure both sides are okay with this, with how up and down the game has been thus far. Both teams not even close to midseason shape yet. Still getting fresh bodies into training every other day, it feels like, for both sides. We've seen how much both rosters have turned over since just even their last encounter. Gomez outswinging ball. Has it free in the box. Walker puts on a crack. Dickerson has his one blocked away. He might have even caught his own teammate. Nice run here from Cunningham. Cunningham, nice pivot and go. He's quickly swarmed by Walker and Mejias. Coughlin looking for some help. Off Dickerson and Gomez. Bobby Pauley chipped ahead. And we haven't seen a ton of Gates tonight. That far side of the field of Prosenico and Valverde checking him hasn't given him a ton of room to operate yet.
Yeah, that was one of the matchups we were identifying before the match. Gates going against Valverde on that left wing. I think one of the things I've noticed is it seems like Valverde is holding a little bit more, and it's Dickerson that's making the runs down this left flank, and that might have been one of the things they talked about before the match.
Prosenico again, front foot out, and it'll be a Peoria City throw-in. Coughlin tried to chip it ahead to Kulai. There wasn't anybody home. Consecutive headers, one for the ambush. Gates finally gets in on one of them. Segby floats it nicely to Coughlin. Nice touch and go passing here from Peoria City. They're out in transition, ducking it inside. Here's Coughlin, blocked away, Kulai! And there will be an offside flag. You can hold it off the board. DJ Kulai thought he had his second goal of the match off a pretty slick service from Coughlin and company on the approach, but it will hold 1-0.
That was close. Because the offside, it's from the time the shot is taken. And DJ was right there. He was right where he needed to be. He finished the opportunity. That's when we'd almost have to see back to see how close that one was. And we don't have goal line technology today, or, we can't call the booth to get a replay.
Well, and nobody has a better view of it than the field level officials.
Yeah,
So we'll trust in the decision that they made. But again, kind of in the conversations we've had with the coaches coming up to this, Jeff Locker really hammered home the point of how much, Peoria City's core has had together. And you could see in that sequence how the connection passing, 1-2, movement, advancing the ball forward, that kind of came into play there.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, that was a great build, probably a series of 4 to 5 quick passes and combinations to break through. Very precise passing as well. The other thing is being around this team a lot last season, there's a lot of great chemistry between these guys out here today. They really play for each other. They know each other. They're all a great group of men that have very positive personalities, and I think that shows well here when they play together out on the field together.
I got to tell you, though, Coach, I've really liked what I've seen out of the Ambush tonight. I know, a new expansion team, but, obviously having their roots in a they may not have the on-field chemistry there quite yet, which is something that they'll probably develop throughout the course of this season with the amount of turnover that they're still expecting. But an organizational chemistry from the top down, like you said, familiarity with coaches, owners, that sort of thing, plays a factor in it as well. There's a lot of comfort there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, we're still very early in the season. We're a couple weeks in. You mentioned it. They've had very few trainings. Coach mentioned how they're maybe 60% towards their full roster. So this is going to be a work in progress. And it's a short season, but it's a long season. They've got a lot of time to kind of get this figured out and worked out.
And it's so interesting. I was thinking on my drive in today, just everybody remembers how good the Heartland Division was last year. At one point heading into, I think it was maybe the last 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks of the season, there were upwards of 4, maybe even 5 teams that could have made the playoffs. And there will be the first booking of the night. But Riverlight FC, St. Charles, Peoria City, and Des Moines all had very solid chances to make the postseason. But at the end of the day, only 2 were allotted in. And now you look at this new division, you have Peoria City and Des Moines who both made it last year, and a bunch of unknowns in the rest of the division. And that's got to be kind of unnerving for both those teams.
Yeah, sometimes when you have newer teams in the division, you don't really know what to expect. And, with this league, a few signings can completely change the tilt of the conference. So Des Moines last year in a crazy game here at Shea Stadium. We were talking about it. You said one of the greatest sporting events you've seen in person. That was one of the craziest sporting events
I've ever seen at any level, any sport.
So, Des Moines is going to be hungry to come back and get their revenge on Peoria City. Those matchups are going to be fun to watch.
Well, and a lot of that comes out of respect, too. I think both of those teams know Des Moines definitely had the pedigree, and Peoria City's first 2 years definitely had the upper hand. Last year, not to say little brother, but Peoria City finally gets them. And now it's kind of like, okay, on paper, those should be the 2 teams making the playoffs from this division, with Peoria City now ranked 2nd in the power rankings off last year, and Des Moines currently sitting 9th. Des Moines hasn't played a divisional game yet, but they're under a new head coach, Charlie Latshaw III, who was previously at Riverlight FC, who knows how to play Peoria City and the Menace from a season ago. In the area, diving attempt by Walker. Him and Kulai were almost in that same 3-yard space, and neither of them could have speared it home.
Another situation where the ball out wide, whether it's Dickerson getting forward from his left back position or Valverde from that right back position, the fullbacks are getting forward and playing great service, and had 2 runners there, both almost got on the end of the ball.
Just about 10 minutes away from the halftime whistle.
The more Valverde can get forward and Gates has to drop deep, that's a win for Peoria City. I think you've seen a little bit of that so far in this match.
Well, and to that point, it's almost by design right now that the Ambush have gone down this side due to that tactical adjustment perhaps by Peoria City, but they've still gotten some decent looks. And I think that's really encouraging for their kind of game plan moving into the second half. It's like, hey, guys, we know we're getting what we want kind of along the right-hand side here, but every once in a while, if that left side can open up, if Gates can find himself free, that's going to open up a lot more of interesting attack combinations they can get in that final third.
Yeah, and in a 1-0 situation, just takes one break from Gates to get in behind and draw level. So again, we mentioned it after the goal. I mean, this game is still far from over. You know, last week it went down to the very last minutes in a 2-1 match, and Peoria City was playing a man down. So you just really don't know how this game's going to continue to unfold.
Following that foul and brief stoppage for an injury check on Gomez, you can see him low-fiving Locker, so no ill will there between the two, just sort of walking it off. And Sammy Slimmy will send this one with the wind. Valverde gets it out to Persenico. Persenico with some moves. Persenico lays it off to Coughlin. Coughlin with a rip, and that one was definitely fueled by his, morning bowl of Wheaties. Had a little too much again on that one.
Well, there was a great situation. We talked about it earlier with Persenico. You know, he drove to the inside, and the threat of him striking the ball caused the ambush defender to have to close him down. And by the defender closing him down, he was able to connect with Coughlin, and Coughlin's able to get a closer shot. Just wasn't able to connect with it as well as he would have liked.
Peoria City's generating a quantity of chances, Coach. I mean, yes, they're technically registered as shots, but Drexler has not had to work all too hard in goal, despite surrendering the one.
Yeah, for as much as Peoria City's had it, they've done a good job defending their box and limiting real chances on target.
Big approach, and Sammy may have wanted to be a step or two further back than that, as Slimmy maybe caught a little off guard of how well that came off the foot of Locker.
Yeah, if you're the ambush and you're giving up a lot of possession and they're getting into your final third, you know, if you're going to give anything up, you're going to give away shots from distance and maybe service from out wide. And so far, that's what they've basically been able to do. And then it looks like they're trying to play off the counterattack. They've had a couple opportunities off the counters. Now it'll be interesting in the second half to see if they start to come out and press more and try to advance more players and open themselves up a little bit more.
After finding its way through the legs of...
They've had a couple opportunities off the counters. Try to...
has it on the left wing. Gomez off to Coughlin. Coming back to the near side, gets caught up in said wind. Dickerson catches it on his front foot. Dickerson trying to find some help, and it will be held in just inside that penalty area. Dickerson somehow is free to Persenico. Nobody finding an open crease. Now Persenico puts it on. It's blocked away. Not really sure somebody expected to take that many bounces, but I was definitely not in that group.
I think Dickerson's had a great first half.
He really has. I mean, it's not natural for him to be this much in the attack all the time, but at the same time, as you were alluding to earlier, if that's what the ambush are going to give you, you have to be able to take it and generate chances for your teammates. And 2 or 3 times there, he was probably 6-8 inches away from getting a pass through. Josh Reddy, his trademarked long throw into the danger area, and it will generate a Peoria City corner.
You know, that's one of those things you probably aren't training every single day, that long throw in from wide areas. And again, they haven't had many matches and training sessions, so see how they deal with it. Throw it in there a few times, see how they defend it, and just earned another Peoria City corner kick.
Jose Gomez, for the second time tonight, will take a corner kick from this end of the field. Going back post again towards Dickerson, and there was nobody there to clean up his header attempt. And the Carp will retain it with Alejandro Valverde.
This is going to be a big final 5 minutes of the half. If you're the ambush, you cannot concede another goal right now.
I would tend to agree that it's kind of like the old saying in basketball, right? The most important minutes are the first 5 of every half and the last 5 of every half. And right now, it kind of has that feel. If Peoria City were to put one more on the board, it would kind of almost feel like an oh, here we go again moment for the ambush after they really did play Peoria City well in that second half. But going down 1-0 into the break, you know you're really only just one play away from walking out of here with some points.
Yeah, one counterattack, one mistake, one glorious goal.
Here's Kulai. DJ Kulai accelerates, goes back again off of Drexler, and he will hold it to the ground. And he's immediately clutching his groin. He may have pulled something on the way up, or
it's kind of an awkward situation because he had Persenico right underneath him, and he had to go up over Persenico to collect that service. She did a great job holding it clean.
One of his longer send-offs tonight. And it appears that we have a downed member of the ambush, and they are immediately calling for the training staff. So this may be to that head or neck area, which is always concerning. While we've got a minute, though, if you're just tuning in, we'll give you a quick recap of how we got here to this point. Again, setting the table, Peoria City hosting the FC Ambush, who they played previously last weekend. And they were able to come out with a 2-1 win on the road, earning their first points in the 2025 campaign in Game 1. Here in the home leg, and what will be the second of 3 meetings between the teams this year due to the divisional realignment, Peoria City will play them 3 times, twice on the road, 1 at home. It was DJ Kulai in the 15th minute off a really good service from Dickerson that got Peoria City on the board, and since then it's been a shot-heavy first half for Peoria City, but the Ambush have bowed their necks when they've needed to, and despite an 11-2 shot differential here in the first 42 minutes and change, they're still in the thick of things.
Yeah, if they can get to halftime in a 1-0 game, you know, you can then start to talk about tactics. If you're going to do things a little bit differently in the second half, or you continue to do the same thing and keep it tight and maybe start to expand late in the match, but I'm sure Coach Locker will have a game plan based on what he saw here in the first half.
Reddy may have undercooked that pass. Jose Gomez is now feeling some of the pressure Peoria City has been applying all game.
Yeah, Coach Pay really wanted to caution there. What a great job of Gomez working out of trouble. 2-3 defenders around him, worked his way down the sideline, got clipped. I think Coach Pay was thinking, you know, that's a tactical foul. He probably should have received a caution for that tackle.
Kind of appears Peoria City may not hold for the last opportunity to attack, but when you do so like that, that could happen as John Gates has transitioned to the near side over here for the last few minutes of this half. And they're going to allow for a free kick, and this will be a yellow card issued to Peoria City, and this might be on Mejias.
All off a bad turnover, just probably an errant pass coming out of the defensive box for Peoria City. A bad turnover, created a counterattack opportunity, and now the Ambush have set up with a free kick in a very dangerous area.
And that will be issued to Mejias, at least as of right now. So a dangerous opportunity for FC Ambush to try and draw level right before the halftime intermission.
And Sammy has not been tested really at all this half, just kind of had to control his
warmed
box. And yeah, so we'll see. If they can put something on target, you really want to try to test the goalkeeper in this scenario.
Well, they're going to shove all the height that they can just inside the penalty area and see if they can't maybe get a rebound or something a little awkward, a greasy goal perhaps. It will be a 4-man wall for Peoria City with Mejias, Coughlin, Walker, and company all inside.
With 3 on the ball here, it does create opportunities for some guys running around the wall. We'll see. I think this has got to be a shot, though.
Over on the first attempt, lined into the wall. Good job by the Carp, and it's flared over everything. So Peoria City does the mark, and it looks like perhaps Valverde may have caught the brunt end of that.
That is exactly what you expect from your wall. stand tall, take one for the team, and live to see another day.
Being in the wall is never for the faint of heart. You could catch it off any number parts of your body, and unfortunately for Valverde, it looked like it caught him just above his waistline in the stomach, so maybe a little bit of the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's bad to have to do it in a game. You know what's worse is having to do it in practice. When you get assigned to be in the wall
when
in
there's
practice.
not even a goal on the line.
That's right. Your coaches are still expecting you to take one for the team.
Slimmy, really good ball forward. We did hear over the in-arena PA that there will be approximately 2 minutes of stoppage time added back onto this half. So not a ton to work with, but both sides could kind of see an attack or two. John Gates working against Dickerson. These two checked each other quite a bit in college. Backside, and it's headed in right on cue. FC ambush, not going quietly into the half. We're in a tied game as we head to the second set of 45.
Wow. What a ball and what a finish. Diving header to the top corner. That's a great goal. But that is exactly what the ambush needed at that point of the half and exactly what Peoria City was dreading, giving up a goal right before halftime when controlling the entire 45 minutes.
Well, we touched on it. It's never going to be given to you. FC Ambush has played well tonight, and they will not, again, go quietly into the half. Both teams will be looking to find a winner in half number 2.
I really like what Coach Locker has done late in the half. They moved Gates to the right wing, which is interesting because now Charlie Dickerson has to think about getting too far forward with the possibility of Gates catching us on the counterattack. And some of the chances late in the half have come down this right wing after that move of Gates from the left side to the right side of the field.
And there is the halftime whistle. To give you a quick official scoring update, that goal will be credited to Owen Guffey, assisted by Locker, as we head into the half. Peoria City 1, FC Ambush 1. And we'll be right back for more here in our halftime intermission. You're watching Peoria City Soccer in the USL 2 Great Plains Division on Sports Engine Play.
Peoria, Illinois, where an afternoon together opens up a world of adventure, and every splash becomes a shared adventure, where imagination runs as big as the machines themselves, proving that wonder comes in all sizes.
Whoa!
In Peoria, every adventure begins with just one step, and every doorway leads to discovery.
If you want to improve your game, contact the Yard to book a batting cage or field today.
Is your business surrounded by success?
Ours is.
Absolutely. 100% yes.
Knowing your company is surrounded by the best in the business is a great feeling. And that's the feeling you'll have working with PIP.
They manage our direct mail campaigns.
They produce all of our signage. They print our marketing materials.
For marketing, signs, and print, surround your business with more than 50 years of success. PIP.
Here's another home improvement insight from Custom Bath Solutions. Most bathroom remodels happen for 2 reasons: to keep up with style trends or to keep up with your changing family. We can take today's neutral trends and pops of color and pair them with 2-day tub-to-shower conversions, a spa-like oasis, or a no-barrier shower with grab bars as your family needs. Get started today and save 10%. Call 309-699-1100, click on CustomBathroomSolutions.com, or visit the Prairie Home Alliance showroom in Washington.
At Auto House of Peoria, we pride ourselves in delivering the best ownership experience in Central Illinois. From newly redesigned state-of-the-art facilities to community involvement right here at home, Auto House of Peoria strives to be your premier auto destination. Shop online at AutoHouseOfPeoria.com today.
And welcome back to the USL 2 Great Plains matchup where Peoria City and FC Ambush colliding here at the break. It's 1-1 between the two sides after they battled to a 2-1 decision down in St. Louis just last weekend. DJ Kula in the 15th minute for Peoria City, and then the second minute of stoppage time in the first half by Owen Guffey have us level. Want to go ahead and quick highlight just the overall roster construction coming into this season for Peoria City. Their staple in the past has been some of their homegrown talent, and there you see on your screen the number of homegrown talents that populate this roster specifically up and down the systems. Peoria City now sporting multiple teams, a U20, U23 team, a women's team, and now obviously Peoria City's men's team is getting closer to its 5th year in existence. And just overall, so much talent coming through the central Illinois area, and that's what in large part has kind of helped build the success of FC Ambush over the years. The amount of St. Louis talent that they have been able to pull in, and had great successes there now in their first year of expansion into the USL 2. We'll go ahead and step aside for another quick break as we get set for the second half of action.
Peoria, Illinois, where an afternoon together opens up a world of adventure, and every splash becomes a shared adventure. Where imagination runs as big as the machines themselves, proving that wonder comes in all sizes. Whoa! In Peoria, every adventure begins with just one step, and every doorway leads to discovery.
If you want to improve your game, contact the Yard to book a batting cage or field today.
Here's another home improvement insight from Custom Bath Solutions. Most bathroom remodels happen for 2 reasons: to keep up with style trends or to keep up with your changing family. We can take today's neutral trends and pops of color and pair them with 2-day tub-to-shower conversions, a spa-like oasis, or a no-barrier shower with grab bars as your family needs. Get started today and save 10%. Call 309-699-1100, click on CustomBathroomSolutions.com, or visit the Prairie Home Alliance showroom in Washington.
Welcome back once again here to Shea Stadium in Peoria, Illinois, where Peoria City, fresh off a national runner-up campaign in the 2024 season and a second-place finish in the Heartland Division, find themselves tied up at the break against new side FC Ambush out of St. Louis, Missouri. They obviously join by way of the reorganization of the divisions and the new Great Plains division at that. So Peoria City and FC Ambush playing each other for the second time in 2 weeks. Last time out was a 2-1 win in favor of Peoria City. Looking out at this half again, if you're just tuning in, I want to thank you for joining us. The first half scoring went as follows. No substitutions throughout the entirety of the first 45 minutes, but a 15th-minute goal by DJ Kulai, his first of the campaign in 2025, was assisted by Charlie Dickerson. A few yellow cards handed out in between, and finally the half was closed off in the 45th minute by Owen Guffey, assisted by Locker, to tie the game up at 1-1. Give you a quick rundown of the halftime stats. The current shot registers for both sides, 11-5 in favor of Peoria City. No saves for Peoria City, 4 for Drexler in goal for FC Ambush, and each side with more than 2 corners. We'll go ahead and step aside once more as we go ahead and get ready to go for the second half.
Peoria, Illinois, where an afternoon together opens up a world of adventure, and every splash becomes a shared adventure, where imagination runs as big as the machines themselves, proving that wonder comes in all sizes. Whoa! In Peoria, every adventure begins with just one step, and every doorway leads to discovery.
If you want to improve your game, contact the Yard to book a batting cage or field today.
Is your business surrounded by success?
Ours is.
Absolutely. 100% yes.
Knowing your company is surrounded by the best in the business is a great feeling. And that's the feeling you'll have working with PIP.
They manage our direct mail campaigns.
They produce all of our signage. They print our marketing materials.
For marketing, signs, and print, surround your business with more than 50 years of success. PIP.
Here's another home improvement insight from Custom Bath Solutions. Most bathroom remodels happen for 2 reasons: to keep up with style trends or to keep up with your changing family. We can take today's neutral trends and pops of color and pair them with 2-day tub-to-shower conversions, a spa-like oasis, or a no-barrier shower with grab bars as your family needs. Get started today and save 10%. Call 309-699-1100, click on custombathroomsolutions.com, or visit the Prairie Home Alliance showroom in Washington.
At Auto House of Peoria, we pride ourselves in delivering the best ownership experience in Central Illinois. From newly redesigned state-of-the-art facilities to community involvement right here at home, Auto House of Peoria strives to be your premier auto destination. Shop online at autohouseofpeoria.com today.
Welcome back to Shea Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois, where Peoria City currently finds themselves knotted up at the half with the Ambush out of St. Louis. I'm Cody Roskins. Joining me again for the second half, head coach Mike Baer. Coach, obviously an up and down first half for both sides, but both will carry some positives into the half to build on.
I'm sure it's a little bit of a fiery halftime speech from Coach Mike Bay, because for 40 of the 45 minutes, he's probably really pleased at the way they played. They had a lot of the ball. They created a lot of chances if you look at the stat line from the first half. But the last 5 minutes, the Ambush made a couple changes. They moved Gates from the left side to the right side, created some opportunities, and scored a magnificent goal in the waning moments of the first half.
We're going to give a quick shout out to Ducks out on Farmington, a proud sponsor of Peoria City Soccer. Be on the lookout and listen for the Duck Call ringing out during each contest this season. Again, want to thank them for their contributions to Peoria City Soccer. We'll go ahead and give you another quick rundown of the scoring of the half. If you're just tuning in, a 15th-minute goal by DJ Kulai, assisted by Charlie Dickerson, got us started on the night. But in the 45th minute, in stoppage time of the first half, Owen Guffey was able to knot things up at 1-1. And once again, as both teams begin to make their way out of the locker room, we're not anticipating a ton of changes. There were no substitutions, in fact, in the first half, which was kind of uncharacteristic to this point in the season. Early on, maybe not the physical fitness shape is there yet, but these two teams got up and down a lot and didn't make a lot of rotations.
Yeah, and there really weren't any signs of fatigue in the first half. I mean, Peoria City, like you mentioned, the fullbacks were getting up and down the flanks, and you know, it'll be interesting to see in the second half as the substitutions come into play, probably around the 60th, 65th minute. And if you see any formational changes as well. But it's a 0-0 ball game. I know it's a 1-1 ball game, but it's the typical, you know, the game is reset. We got 45 minutes to play, and we'll see how this plays out.
Have about 2.5 minutes before we get things back underway for the second half. Both teams have made their way back out of the locker room. We went ahead and touched on just some of the local homegrown talent that Peoria City had during the halftime break earlier, but just obviously with your ties to the Central Illinois area, your background with Peoria Notre Dame, you've seen quite a few of these players, in fact, come through your system and connections with them, and even some of the officials we talked about today.
2 of the 4 officials out here played for me.
And just what are some of those connections you've seen, like that, what the inroads that previous years of coaches like yourselves and other people and notable figures in the community have made are starting to now, you know, grow that kind of crop and now produce at a high level?
Yeah, not only that, but hopefully it'll produce players going forward. I think one of the cool things that came out for this season is that Peoria City has expanded into the U20 Academy system, and they actually just had an open tryout this past week. Drew a lot of younger players, high school age players from the Peoria and Central Illinois community. And, you know, it's going to be really excited to see how those players actually get to play some matches. They may get some joint training opportunities with the first team. They may get to actually get rostered with the first team and hopefully be the future generation of Peoria City.
Well, and it's not out of the ordinary for Peoria City to generate some high schoolers onto the roster. Just last year, you had your very own Caden Hudson make his debut for Peoria City in the postseason of all places, and that's got to be a very special moment for you just as a coach, because obviously you even trained with him today. You were telling me that the progress that those kids are putting in, it's getting noticed, and it does matter.
Yeah, it was a huge opportunity for him last year to get rostered, to train every day with Peoria City and actually get to play in matches, and as a 17-year-old kid, and really helped him exposure-wise as he was looking in his recruitment process and ended up committing to Michigan State University, and he's really excited to go there in early July and hopefully make a name for himself in the Big Ten. And, you know, he's just the first of many players from Central Illinois that are going to get opportunities like that here locally to play in front of the home fans at Shea Stadium and hopefully go on to do big things at the collegiate level.
We're under 30 seconds to go here before we get the half resumed. Peoria City will now operate from left to right across your screen. FC Ambush will head the opposite way, right to left. Again, quick rundown of the stats at halftime. 11 shots, no saves, 3 corners for Peoria City. For FC Ambush, they had 5. Peers were ready to get underway as our field official has signaled towards us here at the press box as we are ready to go.
And the way this game's starting, it looks very much like the first half. Ambush are very much okay with allowing Peoria City to have the ball in the back third of the field. But it does look like they've positioned Gates to the right side of the field the way they finished the half.
Jose Gomez. Here's Josh Reddy. And Gomez with a... Excuse me, not Gomez. Instead it would have been Persenico with a tough touch in transition. Now he has to operate his way back. Alejandro Valverde, he gets run off. Cunningham, and that was never close.
No, but the first real chance of the second half comes from the Ambush, and they're going to like the way they've started this half so far. Peoria City's got to be careful with turnovers around midfield or defensive half of the field, because that's where the Ambush is looking to create chances.
Slimmy out wide. Here's Kevin Mejias. He's checked by Locker, who was very active in that first half for the Ambush. Probably their player of the half. You expect that out of the man wearing your captain's band, which he is tonight for the Ambush. Kulai pokes it free. Kulai on the front foot from Persenico. Persenico loads one
there
up,
it is.
and it scores! Luke Persenico ricochets it in! The man from Clark is scoreless no more.
You cannot strike the ball much better than that. And we saw Luke in the first half take some strikes from distance and couldn't quite connect the way he wanted to. He got all of that one.
A 47th minute goal by Luke Persenico will put the Carp back out in front. A jaw-dropping effort, kisses it off the left portion of the upright. And again, that's just the factor we were talking earlier about. He was taking so many shots from distance. Well, that's why you let him do it.
You just tell him to shoot the next one. What a goal. That was unbelievable. If you're just a general spectator in the stand tonight and you don't have, a dog in the fight, you've seen 3 great goals.
Yeah, that might have been the reminder from Luke Persenico that, yes, I'm still the man. That after missing essentially a front door header earlier in the match that would have put Peoria City up 2-0. Had a couple opportunities that he just missed wide, had too much draw and bend on his shots. That time, that one was pure. Back outside again. Trying to find Persenico once more. Henrik Boyer making his first appearance for Peoria City. DJ Kulai with a furious sequence of moves. And it will be possession to FC Ambush.
I'll tell you what, we had the perfect view of that shot from Luke Persenico. I don't think the fans are going to appreciate how much bend and how much placement and how much power was behind that shot.
There was no way Drexler was going to save that. It literally banked in off the upright. So unless he's guarding his back post, which no sane keeper in his mind is doing in that situation, it's just one of those shots you have to tip your cap to.
I don't think there's a goalkeeper in the world that would have saved that shot.
So again, Henrik Boyer, the first rotation of the night for Peoria City. Number 15 now marking the ball. Boyer is the product of Western Michigan's men's soccer program and hails from the Netherlands. Played professionally in some academy teams out in the Netherlands. Previously, collegiately, was at Embry-Riddle, a Division II school out in Florida. He was a freshman of the year and was all-conference second team in the SCC. And that's with 2 C's, not 2 E's. It is a little cold out, so just forgive me on that.
I put on my heavy coat at halftime. It was getting a little brisk up here. I think we saw this same situation in the first half, though. Peoria City scored an early goal, and then the Ambush just hung around and then drew level right near halftime. So, again, we mentioned it in the first half. There's still a lot of game to be played.
Mejias able to get it out wide to Persenico. Persenico with a fancy carryover. Still running strong, and it was forced out of play and will go to Drexler.
Luke's playing with a ton of confidence right now. You can see that in the way he ran at the defender. And he got slightly clipped as he took that last touch out of bounds. I think if he probably goes down there, he likely draws a foul, but tried to fight through the tackle and stay on his feet, and the ball just ran out of play.
Chipped ahead. Cunningham, the nearest threat for the Ambush. Boyer out wide to Kulai, and that one was just overcooked. DJ Kulai nearly was able to come away with the thievery. Ball again back out wide. Ambush trying to find the open void in the midfield and are able to do so. Here's Pauly. Getting it inside to Cunningham. Cunningham, after falling to all fours, is still able to battle on. And Alejandro Valverde able to push it forward just a touch. Guffey, the goal scorer in the first half for the Ambush, trying to orchestrate the midfield, and just no timed runs on that one. We'll have Sammy Slimmy in an unorthodox situation.
That was promising for the Ambush, though. That was a sustained period of possession in the attacking half of the field. And, you know, they just, again, we talked about it in the first half, just trying to spend a little bit more time with the ball this half if they can. And it's hard to do against Peoria City because they do definitely have an identity under Coach Pay. They're going to work extremely hard. They're going to press. You can see DJ here, and Coach Pay's yelling, let's press together. He's going to try to force them into just playing a longer ball, and they pick up the seconds.
Henrik Boyer couldn't come away with it. And it will belong to the Carp on the far side throw-in. We will have rotation on the FC Ambush side of things. Enriquez Diaz Paralestro, forward from Lindenwood.
Ambush substitution.
And Madeira Island
Enrique Diaz
will check in.
Paralestro.
And he will relieve the duty of, I believe, number 8, Owen Guffey. So the goal scorer from the first half for the Ambush will make his way towards the bench, and instead Paralestro will come in his relief. A little bit of unlucky bounces for Peoria City, has Dickerson battling in the corner. Kulai does a really good job of boxing out, walling off his defender. Now they can get out wide. Persenico with a lot of open space. It doesn't quite get to him. Walling off his defender. Now they can get out wide. Persenico with a lot of open space. It doesn't quite get to him. A kind of puzzling foul for both sides.
I think both teams were a little bit confused, and Coach Pay said, just put the ball in play. They're giving us the free kick. Let's take advantage of it.
Coughlin to Mejias. Leaving chances out wide to Locker. And a tactical foul, but maybe too hard of one, and that will result in the booking. So Josh Reddy definitely knew what he was doing in that instance, but it still may not have been the smart decision.
Yeah, I think he's the one that caused the turnover, and in his situation, he's like, I'm not going to let this result in a real promising attack towards our goal, and stopped the promising attack, took a caution for it, and tried to defend the set piece here.
He's very lucky. That was a step or 3 away from really developing to something more than a red card. It could have been a goal-scoring chance. He wasn't even facing the ball when it came in on him. And
yeah, fortunately for him, there was a recovering defender. I believe Jeremy was working his way over to cover the play, which prevented it from being something worse.
Saw a free kick from a similar distance in the first half that was blocked by a 4-man wall for Peoria City. And the Ambush really haven't had much of set pieces tonight. Only the 2 corners. Operating inside, and Slimmy will have it escape past. There's definitely some physical play in the box, and
yeah, that was Walker defending right there at the edge of the 6, and there was definitely some tussling. The referee was looking straight at it and didn't see anything there. You know, a couple of the ambush's best chances so far this game have been off mistakes from Peoria City, their defensive half of the field. And seen that 2 or 3 times so far this game, and it's going to be an important part going forward. We can't make those mistakes and give the ambush opportunities they otherwise wouldn't create on their own.
We continue to crawl towards the 60th minute.
Looks like the ambush are preparing a couple additional changes right now, while Peoria City has yet to make a change.
Henrik came in earlier. He's along that far side. So there's been one change for Peoria City. Believe me, it caught me by surprise in that first moment too. But you can definitely tell both sides, with the moves being made, more offensive focus with the attack in mind. For obvious reasons, for FC Ambush, they have to hunt the second goal. But for Peoria City, they know a second goal could probably put them over the finish line.
I know another thing, talking to Coach Locker before the game, he mentioned that some of these guys they're not overly familiar with. They're coming in from college programs. They've watched a little bit of film, but
they don't know what they have yet.
They don't know what they have yet. And this may be a situation where they're giving players opportunities in an intense environment early in the season to see what they're going to get.
Ball swung out wide. Gates, the playmaker. Talbot. And it's going to be a goal kick. Looked like Peoria City was applauding for the handball, but regardless, it'll be in their possession, just this time off the foot of Slimmy. Real chance for DJ to get on this one if he can get on his horse. Bersenico keeping it on that lethal left foot. Just couldn't get that pass inside to Mejias.
You could see the ambush defender was not going to let him come inside to his left foot. He did everything he could to keep him wide, and here comes Gates.
John Gates able to lay it back, and Slimmy was touch and go, able to force feed over to Bersenico. Cutting low, cross back inside. Kulai was there for just a moment. And it will stay with Peoria City, as it appears that we may have a booking. Good size for a man in his position between the posts. Pauly trying to float one over the top, and now the ambush doing some real damage in their long ball attack.
The game is definitely opening up. You're seeing it go box to box.
And you can kind of see the same with the physicality. Both sides kind of saying, okay, if I'm going to get away with this, then perhaps that I could also get away with that, and vice versa. Just feeling out what the officials are seeing here in the second half. Peoria City pushing a lot of people forward. Now they're essentially man-marked by one of every member along that back line. Mejias, Walker, Kulai, and Bersenico, all with man on. And Mejias felt perhaps that he was fouled. Now Mejias in transition, coming the other way. Floated out to Bersenico. His service inside. Kulai lets it go to Dickerson, rolling across goal, and smartly slammed out of the way. Heads up play by Clayton Hamler.
I think that's the first time we've mentioned Charlie's name really in the second half in the attacking portion of the field. The first half he was just getting up and down and involved, but now having to deal with Gates in the second half, I think he's been a little bit reserved in getting forward. But great run there to the back post. DJ recognized it. I don't know if he called DJ off, but was able to get the ball on his left foot and get a shot towards goal.
Oliver Benson from Concordia by way of Bennington, Nebraska. And NAIA guys to check in here. We'll have to see who he's officially coming in for. This may be Segby.
Yeah, he traditionally plays
forward.
He can play like usually on the left side because he's left-footed, like a left back or a left wing. And we'll see where he ends up, and Segby looks hurt. So they may move Charlie to the inside and maybe move Ali to the left back position. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, he's making his way forward like he would join, perhaps, like you were saying, kind of a combination of positions in that midfield, and then they'll kind of feel out where he can adjust from there. Peoria City will go with the short corner. Persenico to Kulai. Persenico caught that off the side of his foot.
Yeah, like I thought, Charlie's going to slide to left center back, and Ali's going to play left back. But that creates an immediate matchup for Ali to have to deal with Gates.
Gates hasn't been too involved here in this second half. And again, he has essentially just joined the team recently. He wasn't in the first matchup of the year between these two. Coughlin and Persenico in wonderful combination. Coughlin rolls it to Kulai. Back out wide. Henrique back in front of goal. Persenico! Johnny on the spot, and it's 3-1 City.
Persenico's just trying to make up for the fact that he didn't score last week.
Well, he's off to a strong start in that department.
And that started at midfield with some great combination play, causing Coughlin to break through, linking up with DJ. And then Persenico does what he did. What he does is then put the ball in the back of the net.
He just has a knack for knowing his way around that final third. And Luke Persenico has a brace here in the second match of 2025 for Peoria City. And that goal may go a long way in steering them to a perfect 6 points out of the gate.
Yeah, huge goal in the middle part of the second half. And Patrick from WEK is happy because he leaves with a couple goals on film.
Yeah, he was sad. Earlier he missed the initial DJ Kulai. So good with the ball at his feet and just misplayed the chip.
Yeah, I think there was a slight deflection off the foot of Dickerson that allowed the ball to carry.
That's a heck of a play by Charlie if there was.
I mean, that's one of the most difficult things to do as a defender when someone's running full speed at you and you're backpedaling. It's very difficult, especially against a player of the level of John Gates.
Service in. And it's over everything, but still in play.
I think that skimmed the bar as well.
Floated back inside. Misplayed by Pauly. Kulai trying to get there. Swung out wide by Gates. Not a ton doing, and Slimmy will come to the rescue. Well, that's the dangerous thing about Peoria City is they are, at times, not necessarily an emotional team, but they ride that high so well that sometimes you can kind of get caught out here and there. We saw that at times during the regular season, a time or two. Mejias out wide to Persenico. Laying it ahead to Coughlin.
Coughlin just doesn't stop.
He is. We said it last season. He is the Energizer Bunny. He just does not stop moving.
He started that run. He picked up the ball, checked his shoulder, had a great turn, probably 10 yards outside the 18, and ended up trying to get on the end of a through ball into the attacking 18.
This will set up a Peoria City corner. Again, 2-goal lead is, superstitious fans would say, the most dangerous lead you can have. But with just about 20 minutes left, Peoria City's got to feel still solid about their chances here. Dickerson, again, that wind may have pushed that one a little far. We saw that happen to a ambush corner earlier. Henrik Boyer. And that might have just been a little too ambitious. Coughlin takes an awkward bounce in front of Mejias. Valverde. Mejias trying to get it on the ground for Coughlin. Instead, it takes a favorable bounce for the ambush. And you can see the idea there, trying to get it through the middle, but again, just too much on it. And that's been the last factor so far, at least that I've noticed, Coach, in the ambush attack. It's just that final pass.
Yep, the final pass has been a little bit off. And also credit to, the Peoria City back line. They've made those channels pretty tight, made it difficult to connect that final pass. And then Slimmy does a great job almost cleaning up balls that get through the back line. Going back to what we talked about, I mean, other than that diving head ball goal, which was just fantastic, Slimmy hasn't had to do a lot tonight, which is again, it's a team effort defensively for Coach Pay. It starts with the forwards pressing the ambush defenders and works its way back.
Excuse me, not to cut you off, Coach, but that was the right idea on the throw-in. Mejias will get called for the foul.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Cody. I was just going to say, like, in my coaching experience, it's the teams that buy into defending that win championships. Because on any given day, the ball just might not be going into the back of the net. But every day you can buy into defending. And if you can get shutouts and you can allow 1 goal or less a game, you're going to be very competitive and have a chance to win a title.
And perhaps a injury to a member of the ambush. We hope everything's okay. I didn't quite catch it in the run of play there. I was just checking my notes to see if we had any more substitutions.
I didn't catch it either, but he definitely grabbed his head.
Yeah, immediately clutching the back of his neck and head, so hopefully nothing too serious. Always scary, as you know. It's kind of a nomenclature that, because soccer doesn't have pads, it's not an overly physical sport, when in actuality, a ton of concussions come from soccer.
Yeah, and there's a lot more awareness in the last few years with concussions. And, I know at the high school level, and I think even at this level, if you see someone clutch their head, you see you stop the game immediately. Back when I played, you guys would hit heads. You'd come out, the coach would say, "How you feel? You all right?" And you'd enter the game again. And now there's protocol you have to go through. If you do have a concussion, there's a complete return to play protocol before you can, re-enter a game, let alone, play another game after that.
Coaches, while you were finishing off that point, a yellow card was issued, or at least a warning. I saw the card shown, which makes me think that it was given, to the ambush bench. And it wasn't to, I believe, head coach Jeff Locker. It was to one of the assistants.
Yeah, they've been critical of a couple calls this half that I think they thought should go their way. There was one they thought should be a corner kick. There was a foul right in front of us. And then they must have seen something that resulted in that head contact that maybe wasn't seen by the official.
Valverde, very good about tracking the ball. A heck of an acrobatic deflection off of Persenico. Henrik Boyer. Slicing back inside. Benson, touch and go, and it was nearly there on the front foot for Kulai. Luke out wide.
Yeah, this is really the point in the game where the ambush, you see if they make any tactical adjustments with their system, but maybe they become a little bit more pressing oriented, because now it's like you got to start taking some more chances. You're down a couple goals. You got 15 minutes left in the match, and, you got to come out and play a little bit more.
We'll have yet another Bradley Brave and local Central Illinois product enter the contest. Number 9, Mitch Coughlin will relieve his Bradley anchor mate up top. He will fill in as that almost central striker role for Peoria City. And his game is much different to that of DJ. If DJ is the Thunder, then Mitch is the Lightning. And much more speed-oriented.
Yeah, and physical, speed-oriented. And at this point in the match, it kind of makes sense, right? Because now we might be playing some more direct balls forward, and Mitch can just go dig them out and get on the end of them and just fly around with a fresh body and press for 15 minutes hard.
A heck of a tackle in by Gomez. I mean, that is how you teach it. Textbook in, contact with the ball first, makes a clean cut. Ambush trying to find a way out of the back. Here's their chance. Slimmy was fortunate, got caught out in the side netting. And again, Peoria City kind of calculating their chances more or less. You'd rather have that happen than John Gates somehow get a hold of that on the opposite end.
Yeah, a little cheeky ball through, chipped through the back line, and a good run. And Slimmy did what he had to do. He came off his line, he made himself big, and contested the shot and forced it to go wide.
Oh, nice ball forward. Again, Peoria City on the front. Mejias out wide to Persenico. Been saying that a lot tonight. Back inside. Hesitation, trying to find some space. Having to lay it off Coughlin to Gomez.
Persenico drew 3 ambush defenders on that play.
Still might not have been enough. Perlestro. And Valverde misses it, gets a little bit of contact to, looks like his nose. Coughlin to Valverde. Now Luke will switch the play.
One of the things I like the most about Luke's game is that he picks his moments. You can see there at midfield, he knows he doesn't need to do too much there, just connect a few passes and find himself in these scenarios, the one-on-ones where he can go at wide backs. He's just a